The greatest battlefield in your life is not outside of you. It is not the economy, it is not society, and it is not the people who misunderstand you. The greatest battlefield is your mind. And the most dangerous person on earth is not the one with power, money, or influence. It is the one who has mastered their thoughts. Because once you control your mind, you control your life. And when you do that, yes, you will become a person that intimidates those who live small, think small, and accept small. Listen carefully. The mind does not begin strong by accident. It becomes strong through training, awareness, and intentional focus. Most people live their entire lives never realizing that their thoughts are not just reactions to life. They are the architects of life. Your thoughts are seeds, and every seed will eventually demand a harvest. If you plant fear, insecurity, doubt, and confusion, you should not be surprised when your life reflects instability. If you plant clarity, discipline, faith, and courage, then your life will begin to produce strength and direction. So, before you attempt to change your environment, your relationships, your habits, or your circumstances, you must first confront the condition of your mind. Your mind is not just where you think, it is where you decide who you are. You have to understand that uncontrolled thoughts are not harmless. A thought can become a belief can become an identity, and an identity shapes destiny. This is why many people remain stuck for years, not because God did not give them ability, not because life denied them opportunity, but because they permitted the wrong thoughts to live in their mind. A weak mind entertains every distraction, every fear, every insult, every temporary emotion. A strong mind does not allow everything to enter. It chooses its thoughts the way a king guards his treasury. If something does not serve purpose, stability, peace, or growth, it must not be allowed to stay. There will be moments when your thoughts begin to speak against you. Your mind will tell you you're not enough, not capable, not worthy, and not ready. You must understand those thoughts are not truth. Those are echoes of past wounds, old failures, environments that did not know your potential, and voices that did not understand your calling. You do not have to believe every thought. You are not the slave, you are the master. And when you begin to take authority over your mind, your life responds. The first step is awareness. You must become conscious of what you allow your mind to repeat. If you allow the same negative sentences to play on loop, you are programming your life in the direction of your fears. But when you take a moment to pause, reflect, and redirect your thoughts, you are rewriting the map of your future. You must catch yourself when your mind begins to wander into doubt. You must interrupt your own patterns. You must speak to your own mind and remind it of the truth that many have forgotten. You were created with purpose, intention, and capacity. There will be people who misunderstand the strength of your mind. When you become intentional in your thinking, you will stop overreacting. You will stop seeking approval. You will stop needing validation. And some will say you have changed. Yes, you have. Growth is change. Maturity is change. Awareness is change. But the transformation is happening inside long before it is visible outside. You are building a mind that cannot be manipulated by fear or controlled by insecurity. You are building a mind that moves with clarity. Do not underestimate the power of environment. Who you listen to, what you expose yourself to, and what you allow to enter your mind will either strengthen or weaken you. Words are seeds. Conversations are seeds. Music is a seed. Social media is a seed. Protect your mental soil. No one becomes mentally strong by accident. It requires the courage to say, I will think differently. And it requires the discipline to practice that decision every day. So remember this, the mind you build will determine the life you live. Control your thoughts before they control your destiny. When you master your mind, you master everything that follows. And when your mind becomes unshakable, your life will rise to match it. Discipline is not something you visit, it is something you become. It is not an event, it is a lifestyle. Most people admire the results of discipline. Success, stability, clarity, confidence. But they run away from the process that produces it. They want the rewards without the routine, the elevation without the effort, the progress without the price. But listen carefully, nothing great is built without discipline. A strong mind is not gifted. It is developed through consistent decisions that shape who you are becoming. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you are training your mind to obey your purpose instead of your feelings. Feelings change, feelings fluctuate, feelings mislead, but discipline remains steady. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you are capable of becoming. Many people have potential, many people have talent, many people have dreams, but only a few have discipline. And that is why only a few rise. There are moments when your body will say, rest. Your mind will say, later. Your environment will say, take it easy. And discipline will whisper, do it now. The strongest version of you is built in those small, unseen decisions. The moments when no one is watching, when there is no applause, when no one knows what you are choosing. The world sees the outcome, but discipline sees the process. If you study great leaders, great thinkers, great inventors, great athletes, great builders, you will notice something. Their excellence did not come from inspiration alone. It came from discipline. They did not wait to feel motivated. They acted from commitment. Motivation is emotional. Discipline is spiritual. When motivation fades, and it always will, discipline remains to carry you. Some people spend their lives wishing. Others spend their lives working. Wishing requires no effort. Working requires structure, consistency, and sacrifice. But understand, this discipline does not take from you, it gives to you. It gives you confidence. It gives you peace. It gives you purpose. It gives you self-respect, because there is a certain dignity in knowing you did not abandon yourself. You cannot build a strong mind while living in the prison of your impulses. Your impulses tell you to quit when it gets hard, procrastinate when it feels uncomfortable, avoid when something challenges you. Discipline trains you to push through. Discipline trains you to stay. Discipline trains you to grow past your own limitations. Discipline is also a form of self-love. When you discipline your mind, your habits, your time, your attention, you are telling your future, I believe in you enough to protect you. You are refusing to betray who you could become. You are refusing to settle for the weaker version of yourself. And yes, discipline will require separation. You will not move like everyone else. You will not entertain what everyone else entertains. You will not waste time where others waste time. And some people will not understand that. But greatness has always required being misunderstood. There will be days when discipline feels heavy. There will be seasons where it feels lonely. But those seasons are building you. They are shaping your endurance. They are teaching your mind to hold its position even when pressure rises. And one day, without announcing it, without forcing it, without seeking attention, your discipline will reveal itself through your results. People will call you strong, focused, committed, gifted. But you will know the truth. You are simply disciplined. So when your mind begins to fight you, when your emotions try to pull you back into old patterns, when the easy way appears tempting, remind yourself of this. Nothing easy is worth becoming. Discipline is how you honor your purpose. And every day you choose it, you are building a mind that cannot be broken. Peace is not passive. Peace is not weakness. Peace is a form of power that only disciplined minds can carry. Many people spend their lives chasing status, attention, success, applause, and validation, but they neglect the very environment that allows the mind to think clearly. When your peace is disturbed, your judgment is clouded. When your mind is crowded, your vision becomes distorted. Protecting your peace is not about avoiding responsibility. It is about guarding the clarity and stability that allow you to function at your highest level. A strong mind does not allow everything and everyone to enter. It evaluates, it filters, it discerns. Because when you understand the value of your peace, you treat your mind like territory that must be defended. There will always be people who try to pull you into their chaos. Some carry storms inside them and expect you to weather them. Some are fueled by stress, drama, gossip, and emotional instability. They feed on conflict because conflict distracts them from themselves. And if you are not careful, you will allow their turbulence to become your atmosphere. Protect your peace by understanding this. Not every voice deserves your attention, and not every situation requires your reaction. Silence is sometimes the most powerful response you can give, not because you are afraid to speak, but because you are wise enough to know that your energy is too valuable to waste on noise. You have to understand that peace is not something you find. Peace is something you build. It is shaped by the boundaries you set, the conversations you allow, the habits you develop, and the environment you maintain. If your surroundings constantly drain you, your mind cannot rise. If the people around you consistently bring confusion, negativity, and tension, then your mind is in survival mode, not growth mode. A strong mind knows when to walk away, not to reject others, but to preserve alignment. You cannot think like a leader while living in mental chaos. You cannot grow with clarity while entertaining disruption. There will be moments when protecting your peace will require disappointing people. It will require saying no to invitations, requests, distractions, and even relationships that interfere with your emotional and spiritual steadiness. Some will not understand. Some will accuse you of being distant, cold, selfish, or arrogant. But hear this. Protecting your peace is not a sign of selfishness. It is a sign of self-respect. You cannot pour into others if you are mentally and emotionally empty. You cannot lead if your mind is constantly drowning. When you protect your peace, you are ensuring that your presence remains valuable. Peace also requires inner discipline. You must learn to calm your own storms. Do not allow your emotions to dictate your behavior. Do not allow your fears to narrate your decisions. When life becomes loud, you must learn how to be still. The quiet mind sees what the chaotic mind cannot. Stillness sharpens perception. Stillness strengthens wisdom. Stillness realigns you with purpose. If you cannot learn to sit with yourself, to breathe, to reflect, to reset, then your mind will always be controlled by external forces. There will come a time when your peace will intimidate others. They will wonder why you do not react the way they do, why you do not panic when others panic, why you do not break when pressure rises. They will not understand that your peace is not the result of circumstances. It is the result of mastery. You have trained your mind to remain grounded. And when your mind is grounded, you become unshakable. Protecting your peace is not about isolation. It is about elevation. You are choosing to rise above the noise. You are choosing to move from emotional reaction to intentional response. You are choosing clarity over chaos. And when your peace becomes consistent, your mind becomes strong. And when your mind becomes strong, your life begins to move in the direction of purpose with unwavering confidence. Solitude is not loneliness. It is the birthplace of clarity, maturity, and identity. Most people fear being alone because silence forces them to face themselves. They distract themselves with noise, entertainment, constant conversation, and endless activity because being alone exposes the truth of their thoughts. But listen carefully, greatness is never born in crowds. It is forged in quiet spaces where the mind can breathe. Every great thinker, leader, innovator, and builder learned how to be comfortable in silence. Solitude is where vision speaks because the voice of purpose is never loud. It whispers. If your life is constantly filled with noise, you will miss the direction God is trying to reveal. There is a difference between isolation that destroys and solitude that develops. Isolation is when you disconnect out of fear, insecurity, or pain. But solitude is when you intentionally separate to grow, reflect, and strengthen your inner foundation. A strong mind understands the power of stepping away. It knows that not every battle deserves engagement. Not every message deserves reply. Not every room deserves attendance. The mind becomes strong when it learns to withdraw from distraction to fortify clarity. You cannot hear your calling if your attention is scattered everywhere. You must understand that solitude is a training ground. It teaches discipline, emotional stability, and internal peace. When you are alone, you confront the truth of who you are. You learn your triggers, your patterns, your weaknesses, your strengths, your beliefs. You learn what you've been running from and what you've been ignoring. Many people will do anything to avoid sitting with their own thoughts because they fear what they will find. But the most powerful people in life are the ones who have confronted themselves and emerged with understanding. You cannot master your life if you have not mastered your inner world. When you embrace solitude, something begins to shift. Your mind becomes clearer. Your priorities become simpler. Your spirit becomes calmer. You begin to distinguish between what is essential and what is merely loud. You begin to see which relationships are meaningful and which are draining. You begin to understand that peace is more valuable than popularity, And in that stillness, you start to recognize that your value is not measured by how many people surround you, but by the strength of the person you are when you stand alone. Some will misunderstand your desire for separation. They may say you have changed. They may say you have become distant. They may say you have become quiet. And all of it is true, because growth often requires stepping back. You are not withdrawing to disappear. You are withdrawing to re-emerge stronger, wiser, and more focused. You are pulling away from the noise to return with clarity. You are choosing solitude not to escape life, but to prepare for it. There is a certain fearlessness that is born in solitude. When you become comfortable being alone, you are no longer controlled by loneliness, validation, or approval. You do not beg for connection. You do not fear being misunderstood. You no longer chase acceptance. You move with certainty because you have met yourself, understood yourself, and accepted yourself. And once you learn to stand alone, you become unshakable in the presence of others. So embrace the seasons of quiet, the nights where your phone is silent, the mornings where the world is still, the moments when it is just you and your thoughts. Do not rush out of those moments. They are forming you. They are preparing you. They are refining your mind to carry what your destiny will demand. The world may not see your growth yet, but silence is shaping the strength that will later speak for you. When your mind is untrained, you react. But when your mind is disciplined and grounded, you respond. The difference is not in the situation, it is in the strength of the person facing it. A weak mind is easily provoked, easily shaken, easily offended. It reacts to emotion, pressure, comments, and circumstances without thought or reflection. But a strong mind pauses. It observes. It evaluates. It chooses its response based on principle, not impulse. Listen carefully. The moment you learn to respond instead of react, you take back control over your life. There will always be situations that challenge your patience. People will test you. Circumstances will frustrate you. Life will surprise you. And if your mind is not anchored, every disturbance will pull you out of alignment. Reaction is emotional. It is quick. It is loud. It is impulsive. Reaction sacrifices long-term stability for short-term release. But responding is intentional. It is grounded. It is calm. It does not avoid the situation, but it addresses it from clarity instead of chaos. Responding means you are not ruled by your emotions. You are informed by them, but not controlled by them. Understand this: emotional maturity is a form of strength. It is not weakness to remain calm. It is not weakness to speak softly. It is not weakness to choose peace over argument. It is discipline. It is mastery. People who live in reaction move like leaves in the wind, directionless, unstable, easily influenced. But those who respond move like mountains, steady, rooted, unmoved by storms. Your ability to control your emotions determines your capacity to lead your life. There will be moments when your emotions feel overwhelming. Your anger may rise. Your frustration may burn. Your disappointment may feel heavy. But in that very moment, you must practice pause. The pause is power. The pause is protection. The pause creates space for your higher self to speak. The pause allows your purpose to override your impulse. In that pause, ask yourself, what response aligns with who I am becoming, not who I used to be? Growth happens in that question. Strength is built in that space. Not everyone deserves access to your emotional energy. Some people provoke because they want to pull you into their chaos. They want you to lose your balance because they have lost theirs. When you refuse to react, you disarm them. Your calm becomes your defense. Your silence becomes your statement. Your restraint becomes a demonstration of inner authority. When you refuse to be dragged into emotional battles, you rise above the level of conflict that others live in. You must understand that not everything requires your reply. Not every comment needs correction. Not every insult needs a response. Not every misunderstanding needs explanation. Sometimes the greatest demonstration of strength is not reacting at all. When your mind is strong, you do not need to prove anything. You do not need to defend your worth. You simply continue forward with purpose, and your life itself becomes the answer. Responding does not mean being passive. It means being strategic. It means speaking when your words have direction. It means acting when your actions have meaning. It means choosing clarity over chaos. A strong mind does not allow temporary emotions to destroy permanent opportunities. It recognizes the difference between what matters now and what matters forever. And yes, there will be days when reacting feels easier than responding, but easy does not build strength. Easy does not build maturity. Easy does not build greatness. The mindset you are developing requires restraint, patience, and self-awareness. It requires learning to hold your peace even when your emotions are loud. It requires remembering who you are, even when the moment tries to make you forget. So train your mind to rise above impulse. Breathe before you act. Think before you speak. Evaluate before you judge. Because the one who controls their response controls their life. And that is a level of power that cannot be taken, only earned. Growth is not always loud. Sometimes it is quiet. Sometimes it is subtle. Sometimes it is a shift in the way you think, the way you see yourself, the way you respond to life. And when that growth begins to happen, something powerful takes place. You start intimidating the version of yourself you used to be. The habits you once entertained no longer feel appealing. The conversations you once enjoyed now feel draining. The environments you once tolerated now feel too small. Growth changes your appetite. You no longer crave comfort. You crave purpose. You no longer seek company. You seek clarity. And when this shift happens, do not be surprised when people around you become uncomfortable. Your growth reflects their stagnation. There will be individuals who liked you better when you were unsure, insecure, easily influenced, and available to everyone. They were comfortable with you, shrinking your potential to match their expectations. But now that you are evolving, now that your mind is becoming stronger, your presence challenges them. Your silence becomes meaningful. Your decisions become intentional. Your priorities shift. And this makes some people feel threatened, not because you have done anything to them, but because your growth holds up a mirror to their lack of growth. Your improvement becomes evidence of their refusal to progress. You must understand this clearly. Your growth is not for their approval. You did not come this far to make others comfortable. You are not obligated to remain where they left you. You are not required to think like you used to think, behave like you used to behave, or stay in spaces that no longer align with your purpose. There comes a moment where you have to say, I am evolving and I will not apologize for it. To grow is to honor your calling. To remain the same is to betray it. Growth also requires releasing the version of yourself that survived in environments you are no longer part of. The you who tolerated disrespect is no longer needed. The you who accepted less than you deserved served its purpose. The you who doubted yourself was simply learning. But now, a stronger version is emerging. One who sees clearly, chooses intentionally, and moves with dignity. And that version will frighten your past, because your past cannot follow where you are going. There will be days when you feel the tension between old and new. Your past will try to pull you back. Old circles may call you. Old habits may tempt you. Old emotions may rise. But understand this growth is not comfortable. It stretches you. It challenges you. It tests your patience. It requires letting go of familiarity to step into something greater. And even if the new version feels unfamiliar, it is still you, just a higher form of you. When your mind is growing, your standards rise. Your conversations become deeper. Your silence becomes intentional. Your presence becomes more powerful. You no longer speak to be heard. You speak to add value. You no longer move to be seen. You move to make impact. You no longer chase validation. You validate yourself. And this is what makes people step back in awe. They cannot figure out what changed, because real growth begins internally long before it becomes visible externally. Your evolution may cost you friendships, habits, routines, and environments, but it will return to you clarity, peace, wisdom, and strength. Do not fear that exchange. It is necessary. You are meant to outgrow the version of yourself that was created in survival. You are now building the version of yourself that is prepared for destiny. Let your growth be so undeniable that your past cannot recognize you. Let your mind become so strong that your old fears no longer have authority. Let your standards stand so firm that anything beneath them is unable to remain in your life. You are not who you used to be, and that is something to honor, not hide. Your evolution is your power. Let it speak. So I urge you today, protect your mind. Feed it wisdom. Guard it from negativity. Discipline it through habits. Strengthen it through stillness and thought. Thank you